Hi honeys, welcome back to my channel. Pleasure to have you here with me. Ooh, it is going to be an interesting one. Actually, it really will be. But before I get into it, please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, share it with anybody you feel might be interested in hearing or even possibly find it relatable. Okay, so I'll remind you again later. I am in a hotel in my city, and how I got here is actually very interesting. But let's just take it back to the very, very beginning. Okay, so I was on vacation a while ago. I left China on I arrived in, excuse me, my country on the 19th of January and on the 18th of January, and I met up with my family. We went to Cape Town. It was a beautiful vacation. Unfortunately, I didn't take a lot of footage of that, purely because I was having so much fun with my family. And maybe, somebody will say, people will say I should do better, but you know what? The point of my channel is to share what I want to share, what I can share, and I feel like I share enough of myself as well. But they're real life experiences, real life situations that happen spur of the moment, and really I just like to relish in them, and that's exactly what was happening when I was home. However, if you are interested in seeing what I got up to when I was still in South Africa, you can hop on over to my Instagram page and you'll see everything over there. So I will put the link in the description box and you can go wild with that. But for now, let's concentrate on this video. My vacation was supposed to be only 2 weeks. It turned into a 4-week vacation by no fault of my own, because I'm sure, as everybody knows, there is the coronavirus situation happening right now, and it's affecting people in different parts of the world. And of course, as everybody knows, it started here in China. When I left, let me tell you, when I got to Hong Kong, they were okay. I don't listen to the news in China because everything is in Mandarin and I don't speak Mandarin, and I spend a lot of time on the socials, and I find that when you're on the socials you get enough information, and there was nothing about any virus. But when I got to the airport in Hong Kong, they were blasting it, that everybody please make sure you're wearing a mask. And I happen to have my mask with me. I mean, in China it's a very common thing to have your mask with you, primarily because of the air pollution, for no other reason. They were saying, oh, there are people coming in from Hubei province who are very, very ill with the cold. So everybody, please make sure that you've got your mask on. I didn't care because, I mean, look, I was on my way home and I've been waiting for this moment for a whole 6 months. And besides, who hasn't had the common cold before, right? So I traveled. I had the worst cold, by the way. That's probably another reason I didn't care. Oh Lord, I had the worst cold, guys. That was, oh my God, I can't even describe it. I was so uncomfortable, but the only thing that kept me going was that I was going home to my mom, I'm going home to my brother, going home to my family, I'm going home to my friends. And I'd booked the ticket, so fuck, I had to go anyway. So, I'm traveling, I have my mask on. Sometimes I don't, like mostly I didn't have my mask on. From Hong Kong, we traveled straight to Joburg. It was a nice flight. I got to Joburg. Oh my, like, also I think with the altitude you're affected. Like my ears, my throat, everything was just congested. My eyes, my nose. I get to South Africa, it's blazing hot. Of course, it's summer. But when I felt like I was dying was that flight from Joburg to Cape Town. Guys. When we were landing, when the plane was descending, I was like, okay, all right. Somebody needs to call me some medical assistance. But I was just like, doesn't matter. When I got to the hotel, I asked the hotel personnel, listen, get me everything you can possibly find me in the pharmacy because I'm trying to have a good time in Cape Town. And yeah, before my mom arrived, I got totally drugged up. I took everything. Wena Compral, wena Panado, wena Grandpa, wena Brufen, wena Amoxicillin, Yongindo babes. I had all of that and I passed out. And I woke up feeling a lot better, you know. I'm not 100, but I woke up feeling a lot better. Okay, long story short, I had the time of my life in Cape Town with my family. Then I went to my hometown, and it was great, as usual. The news started suddenly talking about this coronavirus. And at the time, it was only in South Africa. I mean, it was only in China. And, you know, the numbers were peaking. Every day you're hearing something new about the virus in China, and it just keeps getting worse. And, you know, people are not just getting ill, they're dying, you know. So obviously we're all aware, and I've been aware of this since the jump, like ever since I became an adult, ever since my mind started looking outside of what the media is telling us, outside of what the books that we read in school tell us. Like, everything will be sensationalized for a specific reason. There's always some political agenda behind anything that's suddenly causing mass hysteria. And that's the state that a lot of people got into and are still in right now, as the virus has moved from China to other parts of the world. So I didn't at the time take it very seriously. You know, I was like, wow, that's pretty unfortunate, you know. And then I got a call from my employers here in China while I was still home, saying, listen, this situation here in China is not that great, so you should probably stay where you are and we'll keep you posted. I didn't mind, of course. So my vacation ended up being 4 weeks instead of 2. Then, you know, there was the question of, am I getting paid? Like, how am I going to get paid? Are you guys, you know, what's the deal? And let me tell you guys, I think I have said this in my previous videos before, that Chinese people are really bad communicators. There will be situations where you say something to someone in the best English, like as simple as possible, you know, using layman's terms. You'll say it once, maybe say it twice, but the point is that they will understand it how they want to understand it. Bring it back to what I was saying. So I called my boss, hey, so what's the situation with getting paid? The situation with getting paid at the time was, well, no work, no pay, which I suppose makes a lot of sense, even though one may argue that, hey, this is not my problem. I didn't know that some virus was going to creep up on everybody and start killing people. You know, as a result, people here in China were advised to stop working, stay indoors, like indefinitely. I know there was a 2-week period where nobody was allowed to leave their houses. You needed to make sure that you stocked up on all your groceries, all the water you need, toiletries, stay indoors for 2 weeks while they were trying to handle the situation. And I will give it to the Chinese government. Yes, they did handle the situation as best as they possibly could. Why the rest of the world isn't getting this, I'm not really sure. But like I say, there's this sense of mass hysteria that is happening where people read everything that's in the news and they freak out, and that freaking out is so contagious. So my boss said to me, no work, no pay. When you come back, you will start working online from your apartment. So you should come back and start teaching online. That's what she said to me. So I was like, okay, I should come back. So I booked, and you know, it was just really such a mess. I had planned my life out so well, you know, which for me is a lot actually, because I'm a very last minute person. But whenever I do plan something thoroughly, I always feel like, yes guys, somebody should be giving me a round of applause here. And the one time I planned it perfectly well, everything goes to shit. So I had to try and cancel my flight because I had booked a two-way. I had to try and cancel it because I was told to stay home. Cathay Pacific was not answering their lines, guys. I think they were just bombarded by people's phone calls because it is a serious situation. Anybody who's alive, anybody who has half a brain knows that this is an actual crisis because it's affecting everybody. It's affecting the economy. And once the economy starts getting affected, you need to know that it's real, right? You need to know that there's an actual situation happening here that affects everyone on every level. And as much as, yes, the news is sensationalizing it, I feel like anything that has to do with the death of people is something that should be paid attention to. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to make people understand, that yes, guys, there is something going on, but it's not that bad. And especially if you compare it to other diseases or viruses like MERS and SARS and Ebola, the death rate is not that, it's not that high, and it's a curable virus. But I think what people should be worried about is the amount of time from transmission to death. Like, that's a very short amount of time. So if you don't catch it within like the first week or two, if you're lucky, your ass is going to die. Whereas with other diseases like MERS and SARS, the time span between transmission and death is usually a little bit longer. You know, I found myself booking another ticket to come back to China because my boss said, no work, no pay. You should come back and teach online from your apartment. So I called her real quick after I had booked, and I said to her, listen, I'm coming on Saturday. And she said, okay. So I flew my ass out of Joburg all the way to China. I landed in Shenzhen. At this point, I'm still like, this is just sensationalism. And that's all it is. Like, in my mind, I was like, it's probably not that bad. I got to Shenzhen and I realized the magnitude of what was happening. Now, let me put it to you like this. The Chinese government has done everything they can in terms of security and health checks. That is what is hectic. At every airport you get to, you are getting checked, you are getting your temperature taken, you are getting sprayed down, you are being pulled aside to fill out paperwork for your own safety. It's not to say that, oh my God, everybody has got the coronavirus, every city is on lockdown. The reason for all of that is to keep you safe, to keep you out of harm's way. And it seems extreme, and honey, listen, it's literally like one of those apocalyptic movies where people come out dressed in masks and, you know, face shields, and nobody really wants to come close to you. You know, they don't trust you because, you know, you could have the Rona, you know, like everybody just wants to keep their distance from the next person, you know. So it's advised that travelers also have their mask on. So I was that girl, you know, I had my mask on. It's a medical mask. Like, I wasn't finna play. Like, this layer here, girl, has got a whole lot of antiseptic, antibacterial shit going on. It's not just a mask, honey. I came prepared, okay? So I had my mask, I had my medical gloves on. I never at any point felt unsafe. I'll tell you that. And that's because of all of the security that was in the airports, because of all the spraying down, because of them taking our temperatures, because of them taking all our information down, and so that the government can keep track of all your details all the time. In the event that when you arrive at the next stop, maybe your temperature has changed, they can just go onto the database where they've stored everybody's names, and they'll see, oh, okay, Zime Keswa, South African national, yada, 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 yada. The last time she was tested was in Shenzhen, and her temperature was this. And yes, she was definitely sprayed down. And also at all the restaurants, all of the shops in the airport that people can go in and out of, at the door, your temperature is taken. Every single shop that you go into, your temperature is taken. And before they started giving shop owners these devices to take your temperature, what was happening was that whenever you went to a store, you'd have to stand outside. I mean, this is obviously from the reports that I was getting from my colleagues. By the time I came back, the situation was a little bit better. So previously, if you wanted to go to the shops, which was not advised actually, but life needs to go on as, best a way as people can possibly continue on with it. So you were only allowed to stand at the door and tell the shopkeeper what you want, and they would go in and get whatever it is that you wanted for you, put it in a plastic, spray some antiseptic on all your shit, and give it to you. And then you go on about your business. But they wouldn't allow you to come into the shop and bring your nasty diseases and viruses inside. Okay, listen, honey. I arrive in Shenzhen and I am overwhelmed by all of what is happening, and also like traveling stresses me out. So I'm just thinking about my next flight and moving from one gate to the next. I'm in a country and nobody can understand what I'm saying. I don't understand what they're saying, so luckily there was a 6-hour layover. So when I was there, I got to socialize with other South Africans that I was on my previous flight with. We're just talking, and after all of the security checks, health checks are done, you can go on as normal in the airport, except of course mask, gloves, and all of this taking of temperatures and the spraying. The spraying is not just your body, they spray the entire area. So at random there'll be people who are walking around in these like all suited up and whatnot, just like spraying the area. How you would spray like for parasites and stuff like that kind of a situation, like just more of that spray. Okay, so we're chatting with these ladies, I don't know, it felt for that moment when I was having conversations with these ladies, just felt like really normal, except for the really uncomfortable, feeling congested. You got a bit of morning breath going on because like you've been on a 12-hour flight. So obviously, which some people don't do, but I did anyway. So I didn't miss my flight because I was in Shenzhen for 6 hours. Eventually I got onto my next flight going to Xi'an. Guys, shit hit the fan. I couldn't take it anymore. Like all of my walls began to crumble because it was a lot. It was just really, really intense. And I don't know whether it has to do specifically with this province, because Shenzhen is another province. I don't know. But their health checks were very intense. Very intense. Everybody who came out of the airport was put into these buses. And I thought these buses were the buses that you get at the airport that will move you from your plane to the airport, inside the airport where you're going to get your luggage. No, honey. No. That didn't happen. Nobody's communicating anything to us. We're all in the bus. And I was traveling with one of the South African ladies that I told you about that I'd met at the airport. Thank God, because if I was alone, I don't know. But, I appreciate that girl. Shout out Lizega. So, buses are... And I'm just like... I'd never been to the airport in Xi'an before. Have I? No, I've not. Have I? Yes, I have. But somehow it's just like, okay, because this time I'm coming back, I'm not leaving from the airport, I'm coming back. I was like, okay, maybe they're taking some route, for arrivals and whatnot. We ended up going to this hall. It was like a fucking movie, you guys. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, so many buses. Obviously there are a lot of flights coming in and out, okay, but this specifically coming in to Xi'an. So there's this long queue of buses waiting to go into this designated area. It's like a yard that has a hall in it. I don't know what that hall was used for previously, but it just looks like, like, let's say example, a town hall, city hall kind of a situation. We arrived there. Eventually, after waiting, guys, my next flight was in 2 hours. I felt like, yeah, Zime, good girl, you planned your shit very well. Let me tell you, after during that 2 hours, I was still in the queue with these buses. There were like 3 other buses, the big ass buses that carry what, 72 or 75 people in them each. So I'm just like, 3 buses with 72 people in them each. Oh my god, I'm gonna miss my flight. This is like now 5 minutes to the time I have to, check in. I'm just like, okay. So I caused a scene. I jumped out of the bus. I ran to these people like, hey, I need to get the fuck out of here. I am catching a flight. And they're like, Timbodo. Because they don't understand what the fuck I'm saying. And I don't understand what they're saying. So I'm like pulling out. I'm doing all the TPR in the world. I'm just like, flight, time, now. And so, eventually they understand what I'm saying. Then it becomes a whole like thing. Like, I hate running through airports. I hate running anywhere. Like, I hate being in a state of panic. So eventually this guy's like, oh, okay. Comes like running, where are your bags? Luckily I was just carrying like a small bag with me. So I went and I get my bag, and I'm just like running with this dude, and I skipped the queue. Like, there were like more than 100 people, like more than 200 people, more than 300 people who were ahead of me. Now I'm just looking at the buses right on the outside. So now I go into this hall. It is chock-a-block, understand? Full of people who are waiting in line. Never mind the hundreds that are outside. The people that are inside, so many. So obviously what the process is supposed to be, you have this video thing, like this camera that takes your temperature. And if you're good, they clear you go inside. And then your temperature gets taken a few more times while you're inside. Then you have to fill in forms, you have to wait in a queue. Come back and you fill another form, you wait in another queue. Fill another form, and then you go to the queue of the people that are exiting now, who are gonna be loaded onto a bus and taken to the airport. No, before you're loaded onto the bus, everybody's luggage is outside. It's just sitting outside. It's all been sprayed down. It's in like some plastic tent thing that you can go into, retrieve it from, and then go into the bus and leave. So do you understand the admin, guys? It's a lot. People have got flights to catch. I'm panicking because I'm like, why is this so intense? Long story short, in fact, there's no cutting it short, but I'll do my best. I missed my flight. Guys. You have no idea. First, I lost money because of the flight from Joburg to Cathay. A flight is like what? Like between 6,000 and 10,000. Okay, I had to rebook. Now I'm missing another flight from Xi'an to my city. I had to rebook. I'm like, I can't. They say, I know the alternative was get a flight for later. They tell me, because my city is very small, right, and very far, there were no flights coming to my city that day. So they're like, I had my own personal police escort at this moment because, like, you guys, I have no idea. Have no clue. Because everybody was just worried, and I'm a foreigner. Like, I don't know, they like to treat foreigners, as much as like it's a very racist society, but there's also this thing of wanting to treat foreigners with kid gloves, because you don't want people reporting bad news about China, Their honor means a lot to them as Chinese people. So I had my own police escort at this point who was busy trying to like get me a new flight, and then they booked me into a hotel. At this point I'm like, oh guys, this is so sweet. But anyway, I had to buy another ticket, and there wasn't any flight going to my city on that day. I had to leave the following day. Couldn't know. So they're like, oh, you can go to a hotel, you don't have to pay for it, yada yada yada. Okay, cool, fine, whatever. So now I'm like put into this police car, escorted, yada 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 yada. I get to the hotel. There's security is tight. You know, they're spraying you down, they're taking your information, taking your temperature, same as the airport, and then they take me to my bedroom. And then the following day, same situation, spray you down, take your temperature, you fill out forms, you go. And I came to my city. At last, I made it to my city. Now I'm feeling happy because, okay, I'm gonna go to my apartment, honey. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was held up at the airport. They called an ambulance for me. It was just a lot, guys. Ugh. It was just a lot. It was just a lot. It wasn't pleasant at all. You know, and I'm just like, I'm not sick. You guys are sick because the Rona is all up in here, okay? It's in China. Nowhere else. Well, at that point. So now it becomes this thing, oh my God, you know, the foreigner comes out, Africa. So, oh, fuck. They call an ambulance for me. I'm shipped over to the airport hospital where nobody wants to come near me. There's no medical staff there. The place has been cleared out because everybody's afraid of being ill. So I'm just like left in this hospital by myself. It's a small Anyana hospital. Like it's just like an emergency, you know, setup. I was held there for 6 hours. Nobody's telling me what's going on. There's no food. There's no water. I'm freezing my ass off. It's winter here. And I'd forgotten my big jacket in one of the flights. Oh, God. It was just a mess. So 6 hours later, they're like, yeah. The guy, one of the guys that I work with, he's like the guy that takes care of like foreign affairs. He's like, yeah, okay, fine. You're going to a hotel now. You're going to be there for 15 days. Indoni, babes, what? Excuse me? Excuse me? Eh? Guys, it was waterworks again. I later realized, okay, I'm not a punk, guys. I later realized, oh shit, yeah, you know, it's my period coming along because the following day, Susan was just like, hey guys, I'm here. Which was just terrible because I'm in this hotel. I can't go anywhere for 15 days. I don't have access to the outside world. I had packed so light. I knew my period was coming up. I had everything that I need at my house, at my apartment. So I'm here in this hotel. I don't have any type of sanitary products. I used up all the toilet rolls that were up in this bitch, okay? I don't have, you know, just really, really inconvenient. Because I thought, like I said, I thought I'd planned my life out properly. No like roll on, you know, I'd used it all up in the previous city that I was in, because I'm like, I'm going to my apartment, so no roll on, no sanitary, yada yada. I've got like really this much left of body lotion. I don't have stuff to moisturize my lips. I don't have stuff to do my hair, you know, just want to go home, you know, why am I here? And so, yeah, guys, I've been here ever since. But the silver lining is that at some point, the man that I say is the foreign affairs guy at my workplace, they needed me to do some work online. They don't give a fuck about me. They just needed me to do some work online, so they had to go to my apartment. But I just said to them, because you're going to my apartment, I was just like, hey, Johnny, you need to get me some roll-on, you need to get me some tampons, you need to get me some yada, 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 a long list. And he did it. So now I'm set. Like, I've been living pretty comfortably here in this hotel, in isolation, might I add. So, yeah, like, there's no point moping about it. The reason I'm here is because the government is doing everything within its power, like I keep reiterating, to make sure that the virus doesn't spread. And the numbers here in China of people who are infected have just come to a standstill. There's nobody getting infected anymore, but there are a lot of people who had been affected then, who are in quarantine, who are now cured. Some of them are still going through the treatment. And everybody else who's being quarantined like me is only being quarantined not because they are sick, but because they don't want them to get sick, but because they want to check that they don't have the virus. And so far in this hotel, there are about 200 people. This is from the communication that I did with the nurses that come to check me every day. There are 200 people. All of them are doing great. None of them have been infected with anything. And yeah, after 15 days they're also allowed to leave. So yeah, as much as I felt like, oh my god, they're treating me like, the foreigner, just came waltzing into here from Africa with all kinds of nasty African diseases. That's not the case. There are a lot of people here who are Chinese. I mean, I'm probably the only foreigner, to be honest. There are a lot of people who are here who are in quarantine for 15 days because of health and safety and all of that. So yeah, this is my 13th day here, guys. I made it. I thought I was gonna lose my shit from cabin fever, but I have a lot of people who are very supportive, friends and family, specifically friends, who have, like, shout out Nicola. She gave me like her Netflix logins. And another thing that freaked me out when I was coming here is that my VPN wasn't working. So I had to call up this other guy. I put a post on the South Africans living in China group, and somebody got back to me. Thank God, like, social media. And it was on WeChat. It was like, hey, hit this guy up. He can hook you up. I was like, okay, cool. Hit this guy up. His name is Leo, guys. Get you a Leo. He can do anything for you that involves the internet. So I managed to get myself a connection after a few hours of being here, because I couldn't connect at all anywhere. And so I was able to communicate to people back home, which was so comforting, because can you imagine not having internet, being here by yourself 15 days? I would have jumped out this window. So yeah, day 13, you guys, 2 more to go. I'm still going strong. And the food here is horrendous. But luckily, I figured out how to use this really cool app called Meituan. And I can order online. And they're cool with it because they understand that their food is crap. I mean, I'm sure they know. So what happens here in the hotel is that you stay in your room. You're not allowed out at all. You can't just leave. You can't, like, take a walk. Not even in the passage. So I made a mistake on I think on my second day here. I was freezing, like I said, it's winter here, and I'd forgotten my coat in another city. So I couldn't figure out the aircon situation. So I walked out, going downstairs, going to ask for help so that I can get some heating in my room. And I get there downstairs is the same situation as that Shein hotel. Get people in masks, people in like the whole kit. They spray you down, they take your temperature, you fill out forms. Okay, so there are nurses there, doctors there, and the military, like police people there. Okay, so they see me coming, everybody jumps up. They're like, oh my god, she's out of her room. Everybody stands on their feet, so they can't, I don't know what they're saying, and I'm just like, no, I just need heating. Like, I'm just like, upstairs, come. Nobody wants to touch me. They're like, no, just stand back, go back. And then they pull out their phones. They've got the translating apps, and they're like, you have to stay in your room for 15 days. So I'm like, every day I'm not allowed to come out. They're like, no, you can't come out. Because I at least thought I'd be able to walk around, like, see the people, see my neighbors, chat, go downstairs, have coffee. They're like, no, you stay in this room. So this has been my room, guys. This has been my home for the past 2 weeks. Has it been pleasant? It's been fine. At least it has a mattress. My apartment does not have a mattress at all, and I think. Anyway, if you're in China, if you know. So yeah, it's not been too uncomfortable. I've been watching stuff online. I've been communicating with people back home. I'm good. So yeah, I'll keep you guys posted on what happens when I leave. All I know is that when I arrive in my apartment, I'm not going to be quarantined. However, the advice is that you better stay in your apartment and not leave up until the coronavirus situation is sorted out. So what's happening is that schools haven't commenced yet. Nobody knows when they're going to commence. And of course, you can imagine, right? There's a lot of people coming from different parts of the country, you know what I mean. So yeah, schools haven't commenced. That includes like kindergartens, training centers, public schools, universities. Everybody has been advised to stay at home till further notice. It was thought that it was going to last for 2 weeks. It has turned into a whole month. It has turned, it's probably going to turn into 2 months. It's predicted that, sometime late in April. But now, as it's, I mean, it's nearly the end of March, and still everything's kind of up in the air. Nobody knows how long this is going to last for. So when I get to my apartment, I'm going to be teaching online up until they tell me otherwise, guys. So I will keep you posted. Thank you so much for listening to my ramble. It was a long one, I know, but it's been a lot since we caught up, you guys. So remember, like I said, like, comment, subscribe, share it with whoever you feel you need to share it with. Share it with your loved ones, share it with your friends, share it with your neighbors, share it with anybody who's thinking about coming to China. And I will see you guys on another one. Bye.